All right, guys. So here's my part two of my first episode of the debrief, and it's my new video series. I'm going to cover a lot of different things from my military career in the Marines and the Navy, some of my all the details in between that, and my law enforcement career as an LEO on patrol and working in the jail and different things like that. So I have a pretty dynamic career. A lot of people would say that I've done quite a bit. It's just the start. If I would have been stayed in, if I was medically retired, but after 12 years, but if I would have stayed in, I would be retiring 20 years next year, next September. I joined September 24, 2001. I didn't know much about the Marines, but my recruiter was this artillery guy. He had a big scar on his chin. I was told the Marines. I mean, as far as I knew, I just knew Top Gun and looking cool, and Maverick and Goose, and I seen the movie Full Metal Jacket. That was my reference point for what the Marine Corps was. There was no, I mean, you can find more about the French Foreign Legion, these days. You can find out more about that shit than the Marine Corps back when I was growing up. It's crazy, how much the resources have changed. That's a good thing. But I was going in blindly like a lot of young men, and it was bittersweet. But I come to find that I found my place. I found my niche, and there's a boot camp scene in Full Metal Jacket where basically this recruit, offs himself in the fucking bathroom in the head. For my Air Force guys, the latrine. But yeah, I mean, that was my reference point, and man, I was just kind of a naive, motivated kid that was ready to test his worth and his weight in salt, and I had already been through quite a bit growing up. So I was slated to go. I was in the delayed entry program, and I was slated to go to boot camp September 24, 2001. And so I was 8 months waiting. I graduated. You got to have a high school degree or diploma before you can go. Marines have to have a diploma because we need guys that can see things through and not just be quitters. So we went in, guns blazing. After the towers fell, it was just the whole country stopped and was just in unfamiliar territory. Everybody was just really taken aback by just the tone of the world, just the posture of everything, terrorism, it was just this newest. It wasn't new, but it was just now widely known by everybody that there's these people out there and they're fucking crazy and they hate America and they hate our freedoms and ways of life and a lot of other things in between, justified or not. And there's bad guys and they're attacking us. And I found my place in the Marine Corps, and I was this naive kid from Kansas, and the towers fell, and I found myself going to one of the hardest training in the world. It's 3 months of 3 phases. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. Just put it down in the comments, anything that I say. I'm going to get some shit wrong. It's been a while since I was in boot camp, okay? Almost 20 years. So just fill the gaps in there, please, ladies and gents. And so I'm on the Southwest Airlines going to MCRD San Diego, California. Hardest recruit training in the world there. Ready to get smoked. And I find, if you've never been around a drill instructor, we go through the gates and we go into MCRD San Diego. When you fly in, you see this big ass rappel tower. You got to rappel down this 30, 40 foot wall or some shit, however tall it is. And it says Marines down it. And when you fly into the San Diego airport, I mean, boot camp's right there, and you see this thing. You see the rappel tower down there, and you're like, oh shit, man, about to get fucked now, man. Stand by. So Marines are different because they're amphibious warfighters. We work closely with the Navy, and we're marksmen. We are highly disciplined warfighters, known for being very cohesive and tight-knit with a very extremely aggressive attitude on the battlefield to dominate our enemy and locate close with and destroy by fire maneuver. That's the fucking heart and soul of what we do. There's a lot of other jobs that Marines do that aren't just trigger pulling, but yes, every Marine is a rifleman. My O3 guys, I love you. Fucking right there with you, man. Yeah, they're pogues. So anyway, so I joined and went in as an engineer initially, and you got to go through boot camp first and learn all the basics and earn your discipline. I'm not gonna. I'll save the segment for boot camp some other time. I actually did a video just a minute ago, and it was like 27 minutes long of boot camp, and I ran out of fucking film. So I'm just gonna leave the boot camp thing. Basically, you go in, it's a fucking nightmare. On your stay up for 48 hours straight. When you first get there, everybody's tired. They're shaving your head, throwing gear here and there. Your first week, you get all your gear, you get stuck with all these vaccines, you don't even know what the fuck's going on. You're like a cattle getting herded around from point A to point B. You don't know what's going on, but you're just roger that, aye sir, yes sir, all that stuff. And you have to talk in the third person all through boot camp. You can't say I, you can't say me, none of that shit. It's fucking this recruit, or this recruit requests this recruit requests that. There's no I. If you say I, you're smoked beyond belief, especially later on down the line in second, third phase and all that shit. So yeah, we got smoked all through boot camp. Marine Corps drill. If you haven't seen the Silent Drill team, check it out. That's the basis of a lot of our discipline, and so we spend a lot of time drilling, and every Marine is taught by the numbers every step of the way, very, very diligently and carefully, and by the numbers. And that's how that attention to detail that wins wars happens, in my opinion. And there's a lot of time spent out there, a lot of Marines pissing themselves on the fucking, a lot of recruits pissing themselves on the grinder out there parading around because you don't fucking go. You gotta go. You better piss your pants. We ain't quitting drilling. So, yeah, craziness, man. We had some kids in there trying to do the suicide thing and all this stuff, and it was pretty wild and very, very grueling. And lots of running around, throwing just racks, foot lockers everywhere. It's constant chaos, and you need to learn how to develop solace within that chaos and retrain your focus. The heart and soul of boot camp is doing everything faster, sharper, and quicker. And everything's a competition with all your fellow recruits, with everybody. Outperform everybody. And it was the first time I realized, whoa, this is kind of contrary to a lot of stuff that we're brought up in our civilian side, is the fact that, no, if you can't carry your weight, then fuck off. We don't want you. We need the best. We all will be the best together. And if you are a liability, then get the fuck out. We'll try to train you. If you're not trained, if you're untrainable, if you just can't figure it out, then we'll drown you. It's just that simple. So yeah, it's pretty humbling. So yeah, you definitely learn how to fix yourself where you're in error, and you get with the damn program and you learn how to do some shit the right way, the way the Marine Corps wants you, because it's built that way as a well-oiled machine for a reason, because we fucking win wars, and we have to be able to fight some of the most well-trained and disciplined and professional war fighters out there in the rest of the world. So yeah, it's a crazy deal. And we go through boot camp. I had a drill instructor take me in his duty hut one day because I left my rifle out, and he threw me all around in there. And there's all this shit about how they're not supposed to touch you or cuss or any of that. And my first day, my drill instructor comes up, and I had this Navy guy. He spent 4 years in the Navy, and he was my rack mate, and fucking slapped his damn portholes off his eyes onto the ground and fucking stomped them. He's like, these weren't fucking issued to you. What the fuck you wearing them in my fucking quarter deck? Get on a quarter deck. And going off on him. And I'm like, man, dude. Yeah, I got smoked very, like, all the time. I'll tell you some boot camp stories some other time. But basically, at the very end, you graduate. Right after you spend, the last big test is going up. You do swim qual. You have to float in the pool and swim and tread water and all this shit. And because Marines are amphibious, so we do a lot of pool drills. Big emphasis on marksmanship and the rifle range. And then the crucible. Leave the details in there. I don't know what it is now, but basically it's 3 days of being out in the field and training and freezing your fucking ass off. And you get 3 meals, 3 MREs, and I had broke my tooth out. My front tooth was broke out. And so I'm just having my nerve exposed in my front tooth out in like the freezing winter air in the mountains. And it was so miserable. But yeah, we finished up field training and went up the Reaper, the dreaded Reaper. We went up this mountain, and you get your Eagle Globe and Anchor. Eagle stands for nation. The Globe stands for worldwide service, and the Anchor stands for naval traditions. And another thing about Marine Corps boot camp is you have to learn knowledge, and you have to study tons of shit. Lots of stuff. A big emphasis on historic battles and knowing your Marine Corps history and understanding the legacy that you have to carry on. That's also a huge part of Marine Corps boot camp. So went up the grinder, went up there. You carry like 40-pound, 60-pound pack for 3 days. You go like 50, 60 miles. We're doing these team evolutions. You have 3 meals. Yeah, you're smoked. It's called the Crucible for a reason. And you go up the Reaper as your last little part, and you get your Eagle Globe and Anchor, and you're finally given the verbal title of Marine. And then you go back down, and then we went back down to San Diego after being up north in Camp Pendleton for our field training, and then we graduate. And my parents didn't come. You know, it was no big deal. But I came home for leave and did recruiter's assistance for a little bit, and teamed up with my son's mom, and soon would end up being my wife, who is my high school sweetheart. And we did recruiter's assistance and did the holiday thing. I graduated December 21st, I think. I was 3rd Battalion, Lima Company, Platoon 3021. I graduated on the 21st, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. My dates and shit are all jacked up these days, but I went back out to California for Marine combat training, which every Marine's a rifleman. Went back out to School of Infantry and did my three-week, month-long field training, because you need to know your weapon systems. You need to have, that's really where the emphasis on war fighting and field operations are. So you spend a lot of time out in the field, in the mountains, freezing. It was February. We did a lot of platoon on platoon fighting up in the mountains and digging fighting holes and chew and wearing a hole in your lip from chewing so much. And yeah, it sleeted on us up there our last day, and we were in these fighting holes, and not foxholes, but fighting positions. And the sleet piled up to like past my shins, and we were like in these little ice blocks. And you only go down off the mountain like 3 days, or like once a week, I think, if I remember right. But you're up there the whole time, just eating MREs and living the fucking suck, and it's just the way it is. But we had a blast, but it was miserable as fuck, and that's all there was to it. But the last day it got so cold, like guys were falling out with hypothermia. It was the middle of the night. The commander said, "Hey, head down south. We're heading back down." I mean, it's bad. And all we had was a thermal layer underneath our camis. So we didn't have like all this cold weather gear. We had these fucking Gumby suits. They were called Gumby suits, and it wasn't even Gore-Tex. But we wore those damn things, and all we had was Gore-Tex or these Gumby suit bottoms, and fucking this real thin layer of insulated jacket that went underneath your top. And those infantry guys, our infantry instructors, they were just like, no, if we ain't fucking wearing them, you ain't. And so they made us do that. And it was like fucking 20 degrees out there. Yeah, it was the coldest I've ever been in my life. And they made us embrace the suck for sure. But yeah, I had frostbite on my ears. My ears were like scabbing off. I mean, it was rough, man. But we did it. Graduated combat training, crew served weapons, infantry tactics, throwing grenades, understanding different weapon systems and understanding what it's like to get out there and fight as your first taste of it. And so I went to engineering school after that in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. The Army trains with a lot of different services because they have a lot of funding and they have a lot of the resources for training. So we were right by a lot of kids in the Army a lot of these soldiers that were going through their basic training and their AIT. And so they went through a lot of their training. And so we were next to these damn recruit soldiers. And their drill sergeants were just fucking slaying them all over the place all the time. And I mean, we're Marines and we're just there to learn our technical job. And by that time, it's already 4 or 5 months into our military career, and these guys are newbies, and here we are with them. But I mean, still, we're like, shit, man, just getting fucked up. And riding on these damn cattle cars out to the damn training sites and all this stuff. If you guys ever rode a cattle car, man, leave a comment. Yeah, it was a wild time. And so got through engineer school and got to my first unit out, 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force in North Carolina. Got to my engineer platoon. And it was a time, I was issued woodland camis and jungle boots and moon boots. Man, it was a kind of a phase where we were kind of old school to new school a little bit, and I was in that transition with this new War on Terror, and all this fucking video games started popping up based on everything that we did. So yeah, we got with my first platoon. It was rough. I went in as a boot private, E1, and I just wanted to be a Marine. Loved it. And I just ended up being very, very good at my job and very good at my at understanding customs and courtesies and just understanding the Marine Corps way of life and training fucking hard everywhere. Every day you run, every day's PT, inspections in the morning and all that, everything in between. Annie, quit slapping your damn face over there. But my dog. But yeah, it was a very, very wild experience getting to my first platoon because they break you in. Now it's all hazing and you can't do that shit. But no, they threw us in this mud pit and they kicked the shit out of us, and it was a good time. It was a great time. It was your rite of passage, but it didn't stop because you just had to keep earning it. I had a really good friend of mine who ended up, I think he's a first sergeant now, Force Recon, but he was engineer as well. He went through the school with me. He was a little bit younger in the class, but he ended up coming to my platoon with me, and he was a very good friend of mine. And we were kind of like I said, everything's a competition. So we were always kind of battling each other, testing each other. And it was like we were always the one that were at each other all the time, pushing each other harder and faster and quicker within the platoon. And so we just, a lot of other guys were really annoyed with us. You know how those guys are. You know, it's like these fucking overly motivated Marines. Damn it, man. How can you be so motivated? It fucking sucks. We're out here training every day. It sucks. Upper. It's like, but, you know, I come to find out, cutting my teeth more and more, that, you know, it's just like, we just gotta, to realize that we have 4 years or however long, and you know this is what you signed up for. Don't complain about it. Yes, you're gonna have days that suck, but by and large, just fucking slay it out until you're done, and then move on. Just go do something else, but just don't complain about it all the time. And we always had the complainers and stuff that were just always Debbie Downers and fucking pissing everybody off with their negativity. But I would piss everybody off with my damn motivation. I was so driven. We'd be on these marches and humps and shit, and I'd be out there screaming cadence, and everybody, shut the fuck up, Justin. Just shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fuck you up if you don't shut the fuck up. Roger that. And then I'd just keep going. But it was all in good fun. I mean, but my first platoon was cool, and then I got transferred out several different times. And then I went up in rank. I was meritorious lance corporal. Got meritoriously promoted to sergeant, which is E5. My time as a corporal was amazing. Learning how to lead Marines and learning not to isolate myself from my Marines and learning to be approachable and just not a trench Marine that's just out there fucking people up. I earned a secondary MOS 8551, which is at the time was a Marine Corps martial arts instructor. I was the first one in my unit to get a gray belt. I was the first non-NCO to get a gray belt. The Marine Corps martial arts program, for better and worse, it doesn't really matter. I embraced it, and it was an amazing experience to be able to be somebody who trained other Marines in close quarters combat, hand to hand. That's something. MMA was the newest thing at the time. Tank Abbott and all those guys back in the fucking day, dude, it was crazy. And here I was a Marine learning how to war fight and do MMA, because Marine Corps martial arts it's mixed martial arts. It's the Marine Corps' version of martial arts, and so I trained other Marines in that, and it was a long process, but fucking it was worth it. I got, I think 700, I'll have to look, 800 hours of martial arts instructing. I got a NAM for it, but yeah, shit, man. Some guys getting bronze stars and shit out there for shit, and yeah, well, you better fucking take the head of Bin Laden before you get a NAM in the Marine Corps. That was how that shit was, man, back in the day. But so I did a lot of swim qual. I tried out. I was I was water survival qualified SQ. What? That's slipping my mind. Acronyms and shit. But yeah, I went to the pool. We did a lot of pool drills in the Marine Corps martial arts program, pushing guys and Marines through the belts. And I ended up, I was one of the youngest. I was a corporal when I went to the Marine Corps Schoolhouse of Advanced Infantry Training School, SOI. It's one of the hardest schools in the Marine Corps, actually, going to martial arts school and being an instructor. And I was in the green belts, man, it was the newest thing, and those instructors beat the shit out of us. We had to go all these courses, all in learning anatomy and physiology, and EDIPT was our training curriculum, pretty much, of a method of instructing: explain, imitate, demonstrate, and practice. And so I did that all the time and showed up at the platoon. Then before we went to combat, I went and was sergeant of the guard for it was Stone Bay. It was the Marine Corps Rifle Range, and they have Scout Sniper School out there. They got a lot of different specialized schools, breachers courses, pistol training, shit, rifle range, Marine Corps. And by the way, at the time, we shot long ass way out there, 500 yards, 500 meters with damn 5.56 M16A2 was what I was issued. Learned how to do that shit, man. Now they're giving what? You guys are giving ACOGs or something like that. But it's all good. Love you guys. But point is, I was out there for quite a while. And man, it was like 24 on, 24 off, 48 on, or 48 off. But you still had to be there for PT every day in the morning. So it didn't matter if it was a day off or not. Man, it was like a 40-minute drive from Jacksonville. So I still had to drive all the way out there on my day off and come back. Man, that was some shitty duty. But it was pretty cool. There was still a lot of downtime, but we trained hard out there. So it was the school of, it was Weapons Training Battalion, Special Operations Training Group, SOTG. So I got back to the platoon, and they're like, I was a sergeant, and my gunnery sergeant, my staff in COIC, he said, hey, I want to put you at platoon sergeant position. And I was like, fuck. So here I was, a young sergeant. I had a lot to learn, and I looked up to a lot of my senior sergeants to kind of figure out the way. And when the email was a big deal, it was like, oh, check your email. Damn, first sergeant upstairs sending down the word to the damn platoon sergeants, and he's like, check the damn email, man. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck's that? Log into your account and figure it out. And I'm like, dude, man, I just want to be out there in the shit with the guys. I mean, be stuck behind this desk. I don't know what you're talking about, but anyway, so I did. Went through that. We went through a pre-workup package to go to Fallujah, and the guys were going over there getting some, man. I remember looking at the TV, and the Marines were fucking people up and getting shot, and man, there's battle warfare footage like it was the newest thing. It was crazy. It was like everything was on film. And I get over there, and my first experience coming in from Kuwait to Fallujah to Al-Taqaddum was, we came down, and we were shot at, and like literally the whole plane banks, and it was like the most crazy fucking maneuver. And we get to the bottom, and like I literally thought I was gonna die. It was my first experience to Iraq, and planes were getting shot down, and helos were going down at the time. It was fucking crazy. It was sad. But anyway, I'll go into Iraq another time. Yeah, literally I wasn't even on the ground yet, and my shit almost bit the dust. I'll go into the combat side of things at the end of my career in all Anbar province of Iraq on the next video. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for part 3 of my law enforcement career. I will do another video specifically dedicated to my combat experience and a lot of different dynamics with that. But with that said, subscribe, leave a comment about anything, tighten some things up that I may have got wrong during the video, and I'll see you guys later. Hoorah.